Hey Bailey, just want to know how you thought your performance went tonight, and did you know you were going to play 7 series going into the game?
Um, I guess there were some good things, and then there were some things that obviously we'll look back tomorrow. As far as pocket movement, some things like that. Maybe I could have stepped up and got out things instead of trying to go out the back of the pocket. There's one throw that I think of, like trying to hit Baker on the left sideline, going towards away from the lighthouse. Just getting on the same page with those receivers as far as like back shoulders and things like that. Um, that's stuff that it's first preseason game. We'll learn from that stuff, and we have many practices from here until week one. So I think a lot of that stuff will be cleaned up, obviously. And then as far as the 7 series thing, no, I didn't know. I knew who I was going in after and when I was going in. I didn't know how long that was going to be. If it was an entire game, I'm happy with that. I want to play, but that's up to AVP and Mayo.
Dan Roach on the left.
Billy, you led your team on a touchdown drive to get that first score. You had I think a 28-yard completion to Kayshawn. Just take us through that drive, but also how much do you look at this as an opportunity for you? You've talked about that a lot in camp. Just get your opportunities and do the best you can with the reps that you get.
Yeah, that was a good drive. Definitely helps when defense plays good, special teams plays good, and you can kind of get a short field. Kayshawn made a great catch. I think that drive we obviously ran the ball in. Kevin ran a pretty good offensive line, blocked well like they did that entire drive. And then as far as opportunities, every single one of us, everybody on this team is, looking for the opportunity to go into a preseason game and kind of show what you're made of and how you can play. And as far as, I look back at certain things, obviously there might be one or two throws that, I like to have back, but I think overall it was good. I'll find out tomorrow if my assumption's right, but that's what I'm thinking as of right now.
Bailey, you talked about kind of Kayshawn tonight, but what did you see from some of the younger receivers too? First game action for guys like Jalen and Ben Baker as well.
Yeah, a lot of those guys they came in, they understood what the game plan was, they knew what they're supposed to do, they ran great routes, caught the ball when the ball was thrown to them. That's really all you can ask from receivers. Just speaking for the guys that I was in with, all those guys they played well, caught the ball well. I don't think there was any MEs that we had. Those guys played really good. I'm sure tomorrow they'll get critiqued as far as what they could have done better, what they did good, not good from the wide receiver coaches, and we'll keep improving and keep going.
Billy, right in front. Hey Billy, over the last couple of years, playing along with Mac, we've seen a lot of different instances of the fans running hot and cold about who they want to play. Like, oh, we want this guy, whether it's positive or negative. And we heard some more of that tonight. Do you feel that when you're on the field, and how does that sort of shape your experience going on the field when I'm sure you hear the crowd react a certain way?
It's a little opposite as what it's been the last 2 years. When it was happening the opposite way, it really didn't bother me, and when it's happening this way, it didn't bother me at all either. We drove down and scored, so I think they were cheering after that. So that's really all you can do as a quarterback is go score, and everybody's happy.
Any other questions?
Bailey, your other quarterbacks mentioned communication on the sidelines and how you guys are trying to help each other out. Were there any tips that somebody gave you that helped you once you got back in the game that you can remember?
We had a pretty good idea going into this game as far as, what we were going to get. Both sides were, kind of playing their base stuff. Obviously, it's preseason. You don't want to show everything. But, you have those little pretty cool iPads over there that everybody comes over after the series and looks at. So it's nice to have, all four of us quarterbacks, rooting for each other. So as we come off the side, everybody has an iPad. Everybody's talking about, maybe we should do this next time. Maybe we should attack this guy or do this route. So, it's just little stuff like that can translate when you go back out there on the field. And like Joe's touchdown on the, the double move, we're setting up that all game. And I was like, man, I threw those out routes for you. You're welcome for the double move there. But that was a great play by him, great catch, and great touchdown for I guess the offense. It was pretty cool.
Last question here.
As the only quarterback who returned from last year, making your first performance this year, how did that communication differentiate between your time with O'Brien, your time with AVP? What was different this year compared to what you went through last?
I think it was pretty much the same. You look back to last year, a lot of it was kind of the same stuff come off the series, whether it was a touchdown or whether it was a turnover, whether it was a 3-and-out. No matter what the outcome of the series was last year, I could always come off the field and count on OB and even Mac and the other quarterbacks that we had to kind of go over that series and kind of see what some of the things that we did good and did bad at, and kind of things that we want to attack going into the next series. And I think that was the same today. It was say I was in the 3 quarterbacks, AVP and TC, all of us, kind of combining minds and looking at the last series and figuring out what we can do better going into the next series. So I think it's more of the same. So I think that's nice just to keep doing that, because that helps everybody. Everybody wants to obviously go out there and play, but it's nice to have everybody be on the same page and keep going from there.
Hi, Drake. Just a thought on your night. What was it like for you? You win there, one series. Did you expect that coming in? And take us through your night as far as what your first NFL game was like out there.
Yeah, I think it was awesome. First of all, to get out there in the stadium. Really first time since I think the day after I got drafted, being in the stadium, other than the walkthrough yesterday. So being there with fans was a different feeling. Got sent a little chills through my body, but just awesome to compete against somebody else. Been going through camp, practice after practice with ourselves, and finally get a chance to come together and compete as one. I thought the guys did a great job. I thought we brought energy. That was the biggest thing. Through the rain, through the weather, in the first half, and it cleared up, and just glad that we came up on the right side, and that's what the preseason's for. I think getting guys, having them make their plays, and it's just fun to cheer on your teammates. So for me, it's just kind of had an idea of how much I'd play tonight, and just go in there and try to take care of the football and execute. And other than that, it's just fun to be out there.
Kind of piggybacking off Dan's question there, walk us through the process when Jerod tells you how much you're going to play. When does that conversation take place? Is that right before the game? Is that this afternoon? What's that like?
Yeah, kind of Coach Mayo he kind of lets the offensive coaches kind of decide, and quarterback coaches and AVP. So really had an idea a couple days before. Coach Mayo wanted everybody to know, kind of have an idea of how much they're playing. So from that point on, in that conversation is just keep in house.
Chris Ryan on your left.
Hey, Drake, just kind of on the emotions of taking the field for the first time. You mentioned you kind of took it all in. What was that like? Were there nerves? Was it some anxiety about wanting to make a first impression? How would you describe those moments for you when you first took the field?
Yeah, I think always a little nervous. I think you're not getting nervous. If you aren't nervous for something, it doesn't mean something to you. And that's how I look at it. So I think nerves are a good thing. And after you get that first snap, and the play, they blow the whistle at the end of the first play, you kind of settle in. So I think being out there, like I said, just running on the field, it's just a different feeling. It's hard to emulate that in practice. It's nothing like that. So getting a chance and finally getting hit, I think I maybe got touched for the first time on the third down, the last third down, kind of got hit. So it kind of felt good to get a hit under my belt. And other than that, just fun to be out there with the guys and compete against somebody else.
Hey, Drake, over here. Just curious, wondering how much potential do you feel like this offensive group has, and just wondering, do you guys feel overlooked at all, heading into this season?
Yeah, I think speaking on potential, I think running the football, stretching running the football. Those guys up front, you saw some tonight. There's gaps, there's holes, there's the running backs that are making plays, and I think the guys get a great job up front. Mixing guys in and out. I think we played a bunch of different O-line, different groupings together, and just shows the coaching and just trusting the play. I think that's the biggest thing. Our guys, I think that's kind of one thing you want to look for in preseason is just trusting the plays and execution. And I feel like the guys up front, starts with them. They did that tonight. So I think it starts with the run game, and off of this offense, it all starts off playing off the run, and then from there, I think those guys limit these guys. We got a lot of guys that can make plays, and it's our job in our quarterback room to get them the football.
Kyle's behind the light over here.
Hey, Drake, obviously you only got one series out there, weren't able to throw downfield much, but whether it was in the huddle, pre-snap, post-snap, what do you feel you did well tonight, and what would you like to improve moving forward?
Yeah, I think just enjoying the moment is kind of the biggest thing out there. As a rookie going out in the first preseason game, I feel like I handled the nerves, handled the jitters pretty well. I feel like I cheered on my teammates well. That's the biggest thing, cheering on the guys. I feel like I was loud on the sideline and engaged. That's the biggest thing. As a rookie coming in there, you want to be engaged and taking a look at the iPad after plays. And other than that, on the field, not a lot happened. Through a screen for first down, so move the chains. But I think on the third down, maybe should have tried to move down the field. I think we had some stop routes at the chains that maybe could have instead of throwing the flat. But hey, that's what you watch film for.
Mike Giardi in the front row.
Drake, would you have liked to get more reps? And do you think you're getting enough reps to develop the way you want to here this summer?
Yeah, I think get a lot of reps in practice. I think practice goes to show practice matters. You got to practice translates to the game. So I think the amount of reps I'm getting in practice is great for me, and I'm just trying to take all the reps that I can get that I am getting and make the most of them. So I think kind of down more preseason. I'll be out there some more. So looking forward to that.
Same side, Bob Sosa.
Hey, Drake, following up the question I had for Joe regarding being on the sideline after you came out of the game, you had the IFB, the earpiece in. Moments like that, someone in my position may not realize what value that has for you as a quarterback. You've come out of the game, you're listening to the play call. How does that keep you engaged? And what did you learn in all those series after your one series in terms of watching Bailey, watching Joe, listening to the play call, seeing the plays evolve?
Yeah, it's huge. It's good for you pointing that out. Just listening to the play calls, kind of repeating it back to myself. Little things like that. First time being in the huddle out in the real game. You don't want to fumble your words, or glad to do any of that tonight. But like you say, it's huge. Getting an opportunity to hear the play call, know what's going on, kind of play the game from the sideline, or have a look if Bailey or Joe tonight. Or even the receivers. I told the receivers tonight, one of the routes I knew the play before, and felt like he had a good look, and I think he went one too many steps and just messed up the timing. So just little things like that where you can kind of know what's coming. It's an advantage, the quarterback with the earpiece, what's coming on the sideline and kind of play the game, from the sideline.
Hey, Drake, do you already have an idea of how much you're going to play in the second preseason game?
I do not. Nope. I think we're going to enjoy the game tonight, enjoy the win, kind of learn from it tomorrow, and kind of get ready for week 2 once we get back here this weekend.
Hey, Drake. So you're from Carolina, grew up a Panthers fan. I know you mentioned Cam Newton being like one of your idols before. Was it cool? Was it any different? Was it special, more special playing against them in your first NFL game?
Yeah, that's what I told Jacoby on the sideline. I think it was maybe about the third quarter. I was like, man, that's the Carolina Panthers over there. Just growing up a fan, we've been going to games since I was in elementary school. All those years in the glory days of the Panthers. I was at all of them. So it's kind of comes full circle. Grew up in Charlotte and went to high school like 10 minutes from the facility. So it was definitely a surreal moment, and was pretty cool. I went up to J.J. Jansen, who's been like a 20-year-long snapper for him, and I think he's been snapping there longer than I've been alive. So it's just cool to kind of see some of those guys who grew up and saw jerseys in the crowd, kind of playing against them.
Hey, Jacoby, how did it feel getting back in front of the crowd at Gillette Stadium, and how do you feel you were able to get things going with the offense in the limited time you had on the field?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously exciting being back in the on this side of the field. A lot of nerves were obviously built up for this moment, I guess. But it was good. Good crowd, even though the weather kind of was crappy a little bit in the beginning. But we had a good turnout. And then as far as the offense on a limited amount of plays, it was mainly about communication and obviously getting players from AVP, getting into the huddle, get to the line of scrimmage, snap, get the ball. So I thought that went well.
Jacoby, when did you know you were only playing one series? And then second question, I'm curious about your thoughts about the way Joe Milton performed tonight.
I mean, we talked about, the whole thing is just like the coaches tell you whenever you're getting out, and obviously you play those first couple of plays and then you get stalled. You're like, I want to go back out there, and they're just like, no, we're just not doing that. But and to Joe, I mean, I thought he came in and played well. Obviously led us on a touchdown drive with a great touchdown to Quay, and was very proud of him.
Dan Roach in the back.
Jacoby, how will you use this now to kind of springboard into an important week with the joint practice on Tuesday and then the game on Thursday?
Yeah, I think it's cool to now, like, you watch this game and then you obviously see like the little things that that now that you got put under the lights, those things that come up that you kind of like thought that were like things you could brush under the rug, that you're like, all right, we need to focus on this, clean up on this, and things like that. So I'm excited to watch the film and correct the small things that'll help us going forward.
Okay, Kyle.
There we go. You mentioned the weather at the beginning of the game, and
Yeah,
it seemed like
this light right here.
and you mentioned the weather, and it seemed like you got some of the worst of it. Did that affect your throwing early on? It seemed like there were a couple passes that may have been a bit off.
Yeah, I mean, the first one, the ball just slipped, and then that was pretty much it, But other than that, got to get used to it. That's Boston weather, right?
Jacoby, you mentioned the communication on offense. I was just wondering if you could expound upon that, how that went tonight, and just your thoughts on the progress you've made in that area as an offense.
Yeah, I think
the summer.
I think it's more of like from us, like in practice you don't really stand all the way on the sideline. You kind of stand behind the group a little bit. But now it's like coming from the sideline, getting the personnel called, getting the play from AVP. Obviously we got the play clock there. Calling the plays in the right amount of seconds, getting up to the line of scrimmage, making the right protection call, and then obviously starting your read in the right place. And I think for the most part we did that, and that's what I mean by the communication and the fundamentals of that.
Final question for Jacoby. Alan Siegel. Julia.
Hey, Jacoby, obviously you've been named the starter. So between now and the start of the season, what would be your work ethic in terms of wanting to get reps? How many reps would make you comfortable getting ready to get for the start of the season? How much work do you want to get?
As much as I can get. I don't think it's any set number or any set amount of plays. It's just going out there and just working hard every day and kind of just going about it like that,
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Look, let's start off. I thought the guys went out there and competed, played hard. Definitely room for improvement. All week we've been talking about this game doesn't count, but it does matter. And it matters from an individual point of view and also from a team point of view. And, all that matters really is the guys in those rooms. And it's not just me, it's we. And that's my message to the team.
Raise your hand. We'll pass mics to you. Start with Chris Price.
Jerod, can you walk us through the thought process behind using the quarterbacks in the way that you did tonight?
Yeah, we wanted to see Jacoby obviously go out there and operate, as well as Drake, mixing them in there with the ones. The rest of those guys like Zappe and Joe, they went out there and finished up the game, thought they did a good job, but that was kind of the thinking. So next week we have the Eagles, so, we'll practice against them, and, who knows, the reps will probably change a little bit, and then we'll see what happens in the game, but that was the thought process. Hey, Karen.
In the middle?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you can,
No.
Jerod, you mentioned getting Drake into the game. What went into the decision to pull him after one series tonight?
Yeah, that was always the plan. The plan was to get him in there for one series, to get Jacoby in there for one series, and then really, it turned into the Zappe show and then the Joe show. That was the plan going there.
Hi, Jerod.
Hey, Karen.
Was there any trepidation over having Drake in another series perform in front of with his the second offensive line? Was that part of the decision, or
that's always a consideration. If he's in there, you want him in there with the starting offensive line. We got to protect that guy. Not saying we don't have to protect the other guys, but that absolutely did go into it.
And do you feel you're going to get enough of seeing him in live action, going about it like this?
Yeah, like I said, this is the first preseason game. We still have 2 left. He'll have plenty of opportunities to go against other teams, the 2 other teams before the regular season.
Jerod, are you just your thoughts on what you saw from Joe Milton? Are you ready for also Sports Talk Radio fever to hit all week with Joe?
Well, first of all, I don't even listen to that stuff. But honestly, look, Joe went out there. We know he has a big arm. He has the athleticism. He's getting better with his reads every single day. He has natural leadership ability. But once again, it's not just about one game. It's about the full body of work. So you can come out here and play well, but you also have to do it on a day-to-day basis in practice. And you got to gain the confidence of not only the coaches, but also your teammates. And this was a step forward for him.
Hi, Jerod.
Hi.
I was just curious. Obviously, you said the plan was to do one drive for both Brissett and for Maye. What came down to the decision to pull Zappe when you did and to put Milton in when you did? Was there any thought process behind that?
Yeah, it was just about opportunity. It was about opportunity. And Zappe went out there. Look, he's won games in the NFL before. But then just putting Joe in at a time where we needed a spark, and he provided that spark, which I thought was good.
Duke Castiglione in the middle.
Jerod, what was it like for you first game as a head coach?
Yeah, I just felt like I was just in my element. I felt great to be out there. Nothing else really mattered to me. And, when you don't have to worry about substitutions and things like that, you kind of see the game from a different perspective, which I thought was great for me today. And it was the first time I really got a chance to, experience that. So hopefully it keeps going the same way. And, we do a good job with the subs, with our assistant coaches, and I can kind of focus on the game in totality. It was more excitement. It's almost like, when you get on a roller coaster and you just hear that click, like click, 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 and then you get to the top and it kind of is go time. At this point, you're so far along, we have nowhere else to go. So I wouldn't say butterflies, just excitement and pure joy, honestly.
Jerod, any players specifically that exceeded your expectations going into tonight, just the way they showed in the game?
Honestly, I need to go back and watch the film. The easy answer would be Joe. Joe went out there, and it's been a long. I don't think we've ever seen a quarterback here run around as much as he did, and still was able to get the ball down the field. He's one of those guys. So it was Joe.
Jerod over all the way right.
Far right.
Keep going.
Sorry,
Hey.
I didn't know they were over there. There's like empty chairs out here. All right.
I just wanted to, it's kind of preseason for you guys on the coaching staff as well. First time out, I was just wondering how the communication and all that kind of went for, AVP, DeMarcus, everybody.
Yeah, I would love to tell you that the communication was 100%, on point, but there are definitely things that we need to work out. But for the most part, it was pretty clean.
Season, you talked about the progress that you'd seen Jeremiah Farms make over the course of his career in New England. What did you see from him tonight in terms of putting it together on the field?
Look, anytime he steps foot on the field, he takes advantage of that opportunity. His story is remarkable. A guy just on the street, and he was here. We moved him to fullback. He played defensive tackle. He played guard. Played all those positions. When you find a player that just loves the game of football, no matter what the coach asks him to do, it's a great player in my mind, and Farms displays that.
Jerod, after pairing Drake with the top offensive line tonight, do you anticipate giving him more time with the top line in practice this week?
Look, the reps, that's something to talk to AVP about. At the same time, I would say this is a huge week for us against Philly. We'll see what happens in practice and then also in the game, but he's ready to go. When he's ready to go, we'll put him in.
Chris on the far left.
Jerod, you mentioned that that Joe's performance stood out tonight. Just curious, what role does preseason games versus say practice play and and training camp play in the evaluation process, where you're trying to get a total view of how a player, whether it's a quarterback position or another position, can affect winning and make a squad?
Yeah, we always say there's nothing more important than practice. We continue to stress the importance of the process. Obviously, you would want that to show up on the field. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but practice is the number one thing for all of these guys as far as the evaluation. It's not only on the field during practice, but also in the classroom.
Hey, Jerod, just a quick question. I'm right over here.
I'm getting blinded. Oh, all right, here we go.
Hey, Jerod. Just some quick thoughts on the defensive line. Thought they got after tonight. Played with a lot of energy. What were your thoughts on those guys?
Yeah, they played with a lot of energy. They're, we were, I would say, as a whole, the most physical team on the field today. And it starts up front. It starts with the offensive line. It starts with the defensive line. I thought those guys performed well.
Final question, Dan Roach in the back.
Jerod, you talked about this being a big week with Philly coming in for the joint practice and the game. How will you use your joint practice with your ones and so forth going into this week?
Look, we want to see what these guys can do. If it's ones versus ones, that's one thing, but you also need to see what your second string and third string can do against some of their good guys. So, I'll talk to Coach Sirianni, and we'll have a plan of what we want to see. I'm sure he wants to do some things as well to evaluate his own team. And then, the game is also very important, so we'll see how it goes.
Joe, first question, walk us through that touchdown pass. What did you see? How did the play develop?
I had two out and ups on the outside, and with two stick routes by my two inside guys. Just seeing the rotation because they was trying to hold their shell the whole time. So just keeping eyes down the middle and trusting that my guy do his job to my left and right. But just trusted it. Eye down the middle of the field, and then once I looked at my stick, I kind of seen through the stick route. towards the towards the out and up. Just making sure that receiver get it and he can run with it.
Hey, Joe, back here. First off, did you have that chain on under your pads tonight?
Nah.
Okay, I was gonna say it's a little big. I clocked you at 15 seconds on that sort of scramble that went coast to coast and went for 12 yards. You ever had to play that gone that long, and what was it like going through that play and getting a chance to show your wheels in a full contact situation?
Man, I haven't ran like that in so long. I feel like the NFL and college is very different in terms of what you do in practice and how much you can run. Just taking what the coach give us in practice, but also in the game, just being able to just make a play. I feel like, just thanks to the guys out there blocking their tail off, thanks to the O-line, and, it's thanks for guys staying open, but at the same time, and just, running around trying to make a play, trying to find somebody open, and lucky those guys stayed down and made blocks down the field.
Dan Roach in the back.
Hi, Joe. Just take us through your night. What was it like for you? First NFL game, warm-ups, and then waiting and getting in finally, and how much fun did you have on the field, and what will you take out of tonight?
I had a lot of fun, man. It's a blessing, a lot of people from where I'm from, they dream of being in this situation. So just to go out there and cherish it all, it means a lot to me, me and my family, and obviously my teammates. But, my day itself was, pretty calm. Just a calm before the storm. That's how I look at it. Just went home, walked my dog like I always do regularly, and just sit down on my bed and just look over the call sheet. I try not to, scram my brain too much of, studying too much. Once I got it, I got it. And before the game, I may look at it a couple more times. But other than that, just trusting the guys going to do their job and trusting that I'm going to do my job and the coach is going to make the right call at all times.
Joe, hey. How much do you feel that you've progressed since you got here, from the time you got here to now, to what we just saw on the field tonight?
I feel like, the coaches, the team itself done put a lot of work in to get us where we need to be, especially at the quarterback position. The OC, Coach AVP, and TC McCarthy and Ben McAdoo, they put a lot of stress on, just getting the details right. Your eyes gonna match your feet, and just being able to just go where your feet tell you to go at. And if it's not there, be able to move on. So just being able to trust the coaching, trust the coaching, the guys around you, and just trust the knowledge that they passing along. Just being able to just be there and just take it all in.
Joe, you just said something interesting. You said it was fun for you out there tonight. Many players playing in their first professional action, whether it's exhibition or regular season, would say they were nervous, they had some butterflies. You seemed very comfortable tonight from watching you from the press box. What leads to you being comfortable and ability to have fun in your first professional game?
I feel like no matter if it's the first game or the last game of the season, I feel like the more you relax of, just having a calm mind and not trying to have a scrambled brain and just being you regardless. Like, I have a big personality, and I'm going to show my personality every time I have a chance to. No matter if I got to, my thing is I want to make sure everybody smile every day, day in, day out. And, there you go. Just make sure everybody smile day in, day out. So just going out there, letting guys know, listen, man, you ain't got to be stuck up. Have fun, talk trash. Just it's football. At the end of the day, it's football. So no matter what you do, you go out there, have fun, and operate and do the assignment your coach told you to do throughout the week. It's gonna allow you to have fun. So just having fun and showing my personality. That's all I like to do.
Hey, Joe, I asked Coach Mayo just before if any players exceeded his expectations, and he mentioned you. I want to know, number one, what that feels like to you to hear that from your head coach, and then also, how would you evaluate how you did tonight?
Man, hearing that from the head coach, thanks to him, but I feel like I got a lot more work to do. There's a lot of things in the offense that I need to learn, and I need to learn them fast. So just being hard on myself. That's the only way I can, that's the only way I got this far, just being hard on myself. So thanks to Coach Mayo for saying that. But, I feel like, just got a lot of work to do. Got to keep studying. Can't get complacent, no matter how good the game went tonight. Just being able to wipe it off and, put it in the books and get ready for the next one.
And final question, Bob Sosi.
Hey, Joe, you referenced TC, and you talked about going over the call sheet early in the day. During the game, before you entered, give us a sense, what was it like on the sideline? How did you stay engaged? Did you have an earpiece in? What kind of conversations took place between you and the coaches, you and the other quarterbacks to prepare you for when you took the field?
Yeah, I feel like, just me, Jacoby, Drake, and Bailey have built a bond to where no matter who's in, like we always communicate. And, we see the things that the other quarterback don't see while he in the game. So just being able, when that quarterback come out the game, just being able to talk about what just happened. And then seeing the iPad, just being able to discuss, all the small details. And then TC, he's just always on it, man. He's just always on it. He's a great guy, but at the same time, he's just a hell of a coach. He's always on it.